They unleashed their most dangerous weapon, a storm wrapped in human skin, designed to dismantle you piece by piece. It started with their quiet arrival, slipping into your life like a shadow, their charm disarming, and their motives veiled. They wore the face of someone you could trust, someone who claimed to care, but beneath the surface lurked chaos, waiting to unravel your peace. They thought they could break you, thought their calculated manipulation would leave you powerless. But instead of falling, you rose. Instead of crumbling, you stood stronger than ever. Now the storm they sent trembles in fear, realizing that their plan backfired and their mask has finally cracked. Pause for a moment and let this truth settle. The Lumination Inner Circle is not just a space. It's a movement for the chosen, like you, who refuse to be defined by the limits others have tried to impose. This is where you rise above the noise, the envy, and the resentment, untouchable and unstoppable. You've seen through the illusions, uncovered the truth, and now it's your time to claim what has always been yours. In this circle, we don't just acknowledge the truth, we embody it, we amplify it. Their attempts to overshadow your light only reveal the depth of their own insecurities, while your brilliance continues to expand. So stand tall, magnify your power, and join a community of warriors united by justice, truth, and the vision of a brighter future. Together, we rise, we elevate, and we transform. Align with us, subscribe, and let the world know you're ready to spread the light. The one they sent was no ordinary foe. They were a puppet master, pulling strings with precision, their hollow heart hidden behind a carefully crafted illusion. They didn't feel, didn't love, didn't care. Instead, they observed, dissecting your emotions like a scientist, studying a specimen. Every smile, every tear, every dream you held close became data for their performance. They wore the perfect mask, mirroring your desires, your hopes, your fears, until you believed they were everything you needed. But beneath the facade was nothing but emptiness, a void that fed on your vulnerability. Their goal was never connection, it was control, to twist your joys into weapons and your pain into shackles. Yet even in their calculated brilliance, they underestimated the strength that lay within you, the strength to see through the act and rise above their games. At first, they seemed like a blessing, a beacon of support in a chaotic world. They could have been the friend who cheered the loudest for your victories, only to sabotage you when you weren't looking, or the lover who made you feel like you were the center of their universe, all while dismantling yours piece by piece. Maybe it was the family member who laughed with you in public but planted seeds of doubt and confusion in private. They were shapeshifters, masters of illusion, slipping effortlessly into whatever role served their purpose. Their goal was never to lift you up, but to weigh you down, to distract you from your purpose and dismantle your peace. They thrived on your unraveling, feeding off the chaos they created, all while pretending to be the ones holding you together. They speak in half-truths and veiled intentions, weaving words designed to destroy your confidence. Their presence lingers like a storm cloud, dark and oppressive, casting doubt on everything you once believed about yourself. These are the ones who thrive on your light because they are voids, incapable of creating their own. They project their insecurities onto you, hoping you'll carry the weight of their darkness. With calculated precision, they manipulate your thoughts, twisting your reality until you begin to question your own worth. They know exactly how to reopen old scars, to exploit your pain and leave you vulnerable. And when they see the cracks forming, when they sense you slipping into self-doubt, they smile, because that was their goal all along. To dim your light, to take your power, and to make you believe their chaos was your own. But what they'll never understand is that your light, though dimmed, can never be extinguished. Step back and look closely. You've seen them for who they are. The ex who clung to you, not out of love, but out of fear of losing control. The friend who wore a smile while secretly hoping for your downfall. The family member who twisted your kindness into chains to keep you bound. The truth is, their power is an illusion, a fragile mask they wear to hide the emptiness within. They aren't strong, they're desperate. Their chaos is not a sign of dominance, but a reflection of the void they cannot escape. They feed on manipulation because it's the only way they know how to feel significant. But their strength is borrowed, and their lies crumble the moment you stop believing them. While they were consumed with their schemes, you began to notice the fractures in their facade. The charm that once seemed effortless now felt rehearsed, their words echoing with emptiness. Their presence, once commanding, grew uneasy under the weight of your awakening. You saw them for what they truly were, a storm in human form sent to challenge your resolve. But they underestimated you. They thought their chaos would break you, yet it only sharpened your clarity. Their carefully crafted plan crumbled before the quiet strength you didn't even know you had. And in that moment, they weren't just exposed, they were terrified, because nothing scares those who thrive on control more than someone who refuses to be controlled. They moved through your life like actors in a play, convinced they were the stars, the directors, and the audience all at once. Every smirk, every whispered lie, every calculated betrayal was part of their grand performance, crafted to leave you powerless. But they mistook your quiet for weakness, your stillness for surrender. What they didn't realize was that you were never a spectator. You were the storm waiting to rise. And as their carefully constructed world began to fall apart, their laughter turned to confusion, then fear. They had celebrated too soon, blind to the fact that their victory was nothing more than an illusion crumbling under the weight of your unyielding strength. You didn't need to fight them. You simply let the truth destroy what their lies could no longer hold together. They believed they had you on the edge, teetering, ready to fall apart under the weight of their schemes. But what they didn't understand was that you weren't breaking. You were watching. With every frantic move, every desperate attempt to regain control, they revealed more of their true selves. The mask they wore so confidently began to slip, their carefully crafted lies unraveling in plain sight. You didn't need to lift a finger. Their own actions became their undoing. It's almost poetic, the way manipulators crumble when their power dissolves. They claw and grasp, their desperation growing louder, but the harder they push, the clearer it becomes. They've already lost. And you, steady and unshaken, simply let the truth speak for itself. They lashed out, clawing at the air around them, desperate to regain control. Their words, sharp and venomous, were meant to cut deep, to provoke a reaction. But you gave them nothing. You stood firm, steady, unshaken, like a fortress weathering a storm. And in that stillness, their carefully constructed facade began to crumble. The more they pushed, the more their own chaos consumed them. Their lies tangled, their stories unraveled, and the image they worked so hard to project shattered under the weight of their own desperation. You didn't fight them. You didn't need to. Your silence was a mirror, reflecting their true nature back at them, and in that reflection, they saw their defeat. Without a single word, you won. They hurled insults like daggers, spun lies like a web, and clawed at the edges of your peace, hoping to pull you into their chaos. But you stood there, unyielding, untouchable, wrapped in the armor of your own calm. Every attempt to provoke you shattered against the unspoken truth you carried. They had no power over you. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was a declaration, louder than any words could ever be. I see you, and you don't control me. That realization hit them like a tidal wave, drowning their arrogance in the depths of their own fear. It wasn't your anger they feared, it was your indifference. They saw it then. You weren't just surviving their story, you were rewriting it, and they were no longer the author. There's nothing more disarming than being truly seen, and that's exactly what you did. You saw them. Every calculated move, every deceitful word, every thread of their illusion unraveled under the weight of your clarity. You didn't need to expose them. Their games fell apart in the face of your authenticity. That's what terrified them the most, your truth. It was something they could never fake, something they could never take from you. While they hid behind masks and shadows, you stood in your light, unshaken, unapologetic. They realized then that no manipulation could touch you, no lie could reach you, because your power wasn't in playing their game, it was in refusing to play at all. You were real, and that made you unstoppable. And then, with quiet certainty, you chose to leave, not in anger, not in defeat, but in undeniable strength. You didn't need to fight or prove a point. Your absence spoke louder than any words ever could. Turning your back wasn't an act of surrender, it was a declaration that their chaos no longer had a place in your life. The power they thought they held crumbled in that moment, leaving them to grapple with the emptiness of their own games. You didn't need to destroy them, they did that all on their own. Now your name lingers in their mind like a shadow, a reminder of the strength they could never shake. You didn't just survive their storm, you rose above it, untouchable, leaving them to drown in the wreckage of their own making. They approached you with arrogance, certain their games would unravel you, but instead they unraveled themselves. In your presence, their facade cracked because your light didn't just illuminate, it reflected. Every lie they told, every mask they wore, was laid bare in the clarity of your authenticity. They weren't prepared to face the truth you revealed, that their power was an illusion built on the shadows of what they lacked. You didn't need to fight them. Your very existence was enough to expose the hollowness they tried so hard to hide. While they thrived in manipulation, you thrived in truth, and that truth became the one thing they couldn't control. In the end, it wasn't your strength that broke them, it was their inability to match it. For the first time, they were forced to confront a truth they couldn't escape. Their fear wasn't of you, but of the emptiness within themselves. Every attempt to provoke you was met with your unshakable calm, a quiet strength they couldn't understand, let alone defeat. They had come prepared for chaos, for a battle where they could twist and manipulate, but instead, they found themselves standing in the stillness of your resolve. Your silence was louder than any argument, your composure sharper than any insult. Without lifting a finger, you dismantled their facade, leaving them exposed to their own inadequacies. It wasn't your words or actions that broke them, it was the absence of both. You didn't fight their storm, you let it pass, untouched, and in doing so, you became everything they feared and everything they could never be. They came believing they could bend you, twist you, make you dance to their tune, but instead, they found themselves unraveling in the face of your unwavering presence. Every calm glance, every steady breath, every moment of silence became a reminder of the control they would never have over you. You didn't need to fight them. Your refusal to engage was enough. Their games crumbled, not because you struck back, but because you didn't. And that's what haunted them most. You didn't just resist them, you reflected their own weakness back at them. The power they sought to steal from you became their undoing. They left not only empty-handed but burdened with the weight of their own failure, their own emptiness, while you remained untouched, stronger than ever. The web they wove to trap you became their own prison, each thread unraveling to reveal the emptiness they tried to hide. The chaos they unleashed didn't break you, it sharpened you, refined you, made you untouchable. And now they're left standing in the ruins of their own making, haunted by the realization that their darkness couldn't dim your light. That's the truth they can't escape. Every attempt to weaken you only strengthened your resolve. Every lie they told only solidified your truth. You didn't just survive, you thrived, rising higher while they crumbled under the weight of their own deceit. The power they sought to steal from you wasn't theirs to take, and now they're left with nothing but the wreckage of their own intentions. Your light is relentless, a force they can neither escape nor extinguish. It burns through their illusions, exposing every crack in the facade they so desperately cling to. They can't face you without feeling the weight of their own inadequacies can't utter your name without being reminded of the power they could never possess. You weren't their victim, you were their awakening, the mirror they never wanted to look into. And now, their fear isn't of you, but of the truth you unearthed within them. You didn't destroy them, you simply held up a reflection of their own emptiness, their own shadows, and forced them to see what they've spent their entire lives running from. Your light didn't just reveal their darkness, it made it impossible to hide. They unleashed chaos, thinking it would shatter you, but they underestimated the power of your clarity, your vision, your unshakable spirit. You weren't chosen by accident, you were chosen because you were the one force they could never control. Your light, your resilience, your refusal to falter in the face of their schemes, it all unnerved them. You forced them to confront the parts of themselves they wanted to keep hidden. Your strength exposed their fragility, your truth unmasked their lies, and your calm illuminated the storm they carried within. They don't know how to exist in a world where they can't manipulate or dominate, so they sent destruction cloaked in human form, a weapon meant to dismantle you. But you saw it, didn't you? You saw through the facade, through the distraction, and turned their weapon into nothing more than a shadow trying to fight the sun. And why you? Because your energy is magnetic, undeniable, and unshakable. You don't just walk into a room, you shift its entire atmosphere. Your quiet strength, your unyielding confidence, and your refusal to seek approval make you a mirror that reflects the insecurities of others. To those who thrive on control, your independence is a threat they can't ignore. They envy your peace, your resilience, your ability to rise above what would crush others, because deep down, they know they lack the strength to do the same. So they sent chaos disguised as a person, someone unstable, manipulative, and volatile, hoping it would be enough to rattle you, to dim your light. But they didn't realize that your foundation is unbreakable, that their chaos only sharpened your focus and strengthened your resolve. You weren't thrown off balance, you became even more grounded. They wanted to witness your collapse, to see you shatter under the weight of their schemes, but what they failed to understand is that your strength was forged in the fire long before they ever tried to dim your light. Your resilience isn't something that wavers. It's rooted in every storm you've endured, every battle you've overcome. They didn't realize that chaos doesn't weaken you, it sharpens you, elevates you, makes you unstoppable. They targeted you because your light exposed their darkness, your strength highlighted their weakness, and your unyielding spirit was a reminder of everything they could never be. What they saw as fragile was unbreakable, and what they hoped would destroy you only made you rise higher than ever before. People who dwell in shadows are always unsettled by the radiance of your light. It exposes everything they try to hide. Your presence is a reminder of the qualities they lack: integrity, strength, authenticity, and the kind of power that comes from within, not from control. They tried to silence you, to dim your brilliance, because your very existence forces them to confront their own inadequacies. Their envy is nothing more than fear disguised. They fear the heights you're destined to reach, the greatness they know they'll never touch. Your potential terrifies them, not because of what you'll do to them, but because it highlights how small they've allowed themselves to remain. They thought they could break you, but all they did was expose their own emptiness. Their desperation to control you only highlighted their own fragility, their lack of substance, their fear of your power. Every scheme they plotted, every attempt to dim your light, became the very fuel that ignited your transformation. They didn't realize that your strength isn't something they could take away. It's embedded in your soul, forged through every challenge you've faced. Their lies only sharpened your truth, their chaos only deepened your peace, and their attempts to destroy you only made you rise higher. Now they're left with regret for ever underestimating you, regret for trying to bring down someone who was destined to soar. You've become everything they feared: untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable. They couldn't bear the brilliance of your light, so they tried to snuff it out, unaware that their efforts would only make you shine brighter. The same ones who once mocked your struggles now cower at the mere mention of your name, haunted by the echoes of their own actions. It's ironic, really, how the chaos they unleashed circled back to claim them. They thought their lies would weaken you, their schemes would entangle you, and their cruelty would crush you. But in their arrogance, they failed to understand the power of resilience, the way you turned every dagger into armor, every trap into a lesson, and every shadow into light. While they moved in secrecy, confident in their deceit, you stayed steady, letting truth and time reveal everything. And when the weight of their own misdeeds came crashing down, it wasn't you who sought vengeance, it was life itself. The storm they created became their reckoning, and you stood untouched, stronger, brighter, and more untouchable than ever before. Their carefully constructed facade crumbled, and the lies they once wove so confidently unraveled before their eyes. The people they deceived turned away, and the truth they tried so desperately to bury rose to the surface, undeniable and blinding. They mocked your struggles, hoping to find satisfaction in your pain, but now they sit in the ruins of their own chaos, haunted by the consequences of their actions. Their hands tremble, not because of what you did, but because of what you became, unbreakable, unstoppable, and a mirror reflecting their deepest inadequacies. You didn't have to retaliate. Your growth was enough. Your resilience, your strength, your unwavering light. It was all the justice the universe needed. Now, your name is a reminder of their failure, your success a reflection of their emptiness, and your brilliance a spotlight on their shadows. You were never their victim, you were their reckoning, the lesson they never expected, but desperately needed. That's the brilliance of divine balance. What they sent out into the world found its way back to them, sharper and heavier than they ever anticipated. They laughed at your pain, betrayed your trust, and dismissed your strength, but now they stand in the wreckage of their own making. The lies they once wielded as weapons now suffocate them, and the traps they set for you have become their own prisons. They watch you from the shadows, unable to meet your gaze, their hearts heavy with regret and their minds plagued by questions they'll never answer. How did you rise from the ashes they tried to bury you in? How did you transform every ounce of pain into unshakable power? Your resilience is a mystery they'll never solve, and your light is a truth they can no longer deny. You are their reminder that nothing they did could break you. Instead, it built you into something they can never touch, stronger, brighter, and destined to soar beyond their reach. That's the divide they'll never bridge, the strength in your soul versus the emptiness in theirs. You were shaped by storms, built to rise from the ashes, while they crumbled under the weight of their own shadows. They mistook your kindness for fragility, your silence for defeat. But when you walked away, it wasn't surrender, it was liberation. You didn't leave because you were weak. You left because they no longer deserved your presence. That was their reckoning, the moment they realized they had no power over you, no claim to your light. Now, they lived with the haunting truth. They tried to shatter someone unbreakable. Their punishment isn't just losing you, it's living with the reminder that they failed, that their darkness never dimmed your light, and that you've risen beyond their reach, untouchable and unstoppable. They came to steal your power, but instead, they lost their own. They sent waves of destruction your way, convinced they could drown you in their chaos. But they weren't prepared for the tsunami of truth that came crashing back at them. They thought they could define you, box you into a version of yourself that served their lies, weak, dependent, and easily erased. That's how manipulators thrive, by controlling not just the situation, but the story itself. Yet what they didn't anticipate was your refusal to play along. You took back the pen they tried to snatch from your hands, rewriting the narrative they thought they could control. You didn't need their validation to reclaim your power, nor their distorted version of events to justify your survival. Their lies may have been loud, but your truth was unshakable. You refused to be the victim in their script, stepping out of their twisted narrative entirely. In doing so, you became something they could never grasp. Someone who wins not by fighting their game, but by transcending it altogether. You never stooped to their level, never sought to destroy them as they tried to destroy you. Instead, you let your growth, your strength, and your unwavering truth do the work for you. Your silence spoke louder than their noise, your resilience outshone their deceit, and your success became the undeniable proof of who you truly are. Their lies, once shouted with conviction, now crumble under the weight of your undeniable reality. Do you see what you've done? You dismantled their illusion without lifting a finger, exposing their schemes as nothing more than hollow attempts to control what they could never own, your spirit. They built their identity on the belief that they could define you, but you shattered that illusion simply by rising. And now, here's the beauty of it. No matter how hard they try, they can't erase your victories, can't rewrite your truth, and can't undo the legacy of strength you've already built. You proved that true strength isn't found in retaliation, but in the quiet, unshakable power of self-mastery. Your peace became a force they couldn't contend with, a mirror reflecting their own chaos back at them. Their schemes, once designed to break you, became the very tools of your transformation. You didn't just endure, you evolved, rising beyond their reach, untouchable and resolute. Like the timeless heroes of legend, you turned every trial into a stepping stone, every wound into wisdom, and every attempt to dim your light into fuel for your fire. Now your story stands as a testament to the power of resilience, a story they can neither rewrite nor escape. The chaos they unleashed became the catalyst for your rebirth, the spark that ignited a transformation they could never have foreseen. Your story isn't one of defeat, it's a testament to the power of rising above. Like the heroes of ancient tales, you faced the darkness head-on and emerged not just intact, but illuminated, stronger, wiser, and untouchable. But your journey didn't stop there. By reclaiming your narrative, you've done more than heal. You've become a beacon. You've redefined strength, showing the world that true power lies not in retaliation, but in resilience. You've shown others that their pain doesn't have to be their prison, that dignity and grace can shatter chains louder than any scream. Your transformation is no longer just your own, it's a ripple, inspiring others to rise, to rewrite, and to reclaim their own stories. What makes your journey truly extraordinary is the quiet confidence that radiates from it, a strength so steady it needs no audience, no approval, no applause. You've shown that true power isn't found in domination or noise, but in the unshakable foundation of self-awareness. By refusing to play their games, you've dismantled the illusion of control they clung to, proving that fear and manipulation are no match for authenticity. Your calm has become a force of nature, unyielding and undeniable, a reminder that the strongest presence is often the one that doesn't need to shout. And now, your story has become more than just your own. It's a wave of inspiration, spreading outward, breaking chains, and lighting the way for others to reclaim their own power. Whether you know it or not, your resilience is a beacon, quietly guiding others through their own battles. They see the way you've transformed pain into purpose, how you've chosen growth over defeat and strength over bitterness. Your story speaks louder than words, showing them that it's possible to face the storm without losing themselves. You've shown them that there's another way, a way to rise without revenge, to stand tall without playing by the rules of those who tried to break you. Your courage plants seeds of hope in others, whispering to them, "You can rise too." The ripple of your example is infinite, touching lives in ways you may never fully see. You didn't just withstand their attempts to control, you shattered the very foundation of their power. By taking back your narrative, you've done more than rise. You've shown others that they can rise too. Their lies hold no weight. Their games no longer matter, because your truth stands untouchable. Now they're left with nothing but the mirror of their own actions, forced to face the emptiness of the darkness they tried to pull you into. You, however, have become the light they could never extinguish. You didn't break, you didn't bend, you transformed. And in reclaiming your story, you've redefined strength, proving that true power lies in owning your truth and refusing to be anything less than whole. They threw chaos at you, believing it would shatter you. They wove their lies, spun their manipulations, and set their traps, convinced they could dismantle you piece by piece. But what they failed to see was the fire within you, a fire that doesn't waver, even in the fiercest storms. They didn't foresee your strength, your unwavering resilience, or the unbreakable truth of your identity. You didn't just survive their attempts to unravel you, you rose above them. While they crumbled under the weight of their own schemes, you stood steady, unshaken, and resolute. Now they fear you, not because you seek revenge, but because you've made it clear they no longer have power over you. You've become something they can't touch, something they can't comprehend. Let this truth be your armor as you move forward. You are untouchable, and no storm can extinguish your light. Your light is a force of nature, untamed, unbreakable, and beyond their reach. The chaos they unleashed has only fueled your growth, turning every attempt to dim you into a spark that made you shine even brighter. You've risen above their shadows, carrying a strength rooted in truth, resilience, and a quiet power they could never comprehend. Walk forward with pride, because your journey is living proof that light doesn't just survive the darkness, it transforms it. You are a reminder to the world that no storm, no scheme, and no amount of manipulation can extinguish a soul destined to shine. You didn't falter, you didn't fade, and now your brilliance stands as a testament to the fact that true power lies in being unshakably, unapologetically you.